Star Trek Lower Decks Review, Season 2, Episode 6.
The
Yeah.
answer to your question is yes, they do still stay in the lower decks because we've seen the Andorian there, Jen. It's just they are the tools. Kind of like in high school where you had the jocks or whatever who thought they were better than everybody and everybody was mocking them behind their back. That's what the red shirts were. I mean, their name is the red shirts, and even even Boimler's like, are you sure that's a very good name?
You do know the nicknames, that was a nickname around the time of those old scientists.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for answering the question. I didn't know I asked. No, but now this is kind of like skipping to the end. But who's Armis?
Oh, he was a next gen.
That was
he
pretty
the one
good.
who isn't he the one who killed Tasha Yar? Or did he just torment her?
I think he did. He might
I think
not.
he's the one who killed Tasha.
Anyway, yeah, it's the skin of evil.
Because I know he like with one.
Yeah.
He was like tormenting them because they landed on his planet and he liked to be a dick.
Ah.
Yes, he was I am pure evil. And so like he was so like evil that they just sort of left him alone on that planet. And then just like don't. And so like nobody, I think they probably left a warning buoy, just don't bother. And like so like
we're not going anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Let's fuck with the dude.
So he's evil, but he's kind of impotent there.
So pretty much
nobody there.
A lot of bark, no bite.
Well,
Well,
nobody's there.
Okay.
If nobody is there, if nobody's in his direct sort of domain, he can't really do anything. So
because he has no reach. He's like a killer, a rabid dog tied to a tree.
Dangerous if you don't
but
only if you cross the line. And so as long as you don't go down on the planet, you can sit there and he could sit outside in orbit of Armis and it's no big deal from what I remember. It's been a while. But
yeah, it has me too. I haven't actually watched TNG in ages.
But yeah,
at the full.
Yeah.
I watched a few episodes, but,
And what was I remember hearing something about what the Riker ends up inside it for a short spell, and they were like, and one of the things they made it out of was like Metamucil and printer ink or something. The Armis goo was like Metamucil and printer ink or something. It was awful.
It's sentient slime, pretty much.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Sentient slime.
But yeah, it's like
hive mind or just like one thing.
One thing. One sentient pile of goop.
Yeah, one sentient evil pile of goo, and yeah, it was.
He's basically slime but evil.
Turns out it was just a stot rocket from a Q.
I think it had some origins. Vaguely remembering it had something to do with an origins of a civilization, like shed all their negative, evil sides, basically, onto this planet or something, and then it congealed into Armis and became what it is, and they left, and so it was just this skin of evil left on the planet.
Although Madrock is right, he does look more like the snot, the black snot of evil.
But yeah, But it's really funny because it's a really funny thing because he's so menacing while you're in his domain. He's very menacing, but
If he
because
can't
he can't,
touch you, he can't touch
yeah, if he can't get to you, like he's pretty powerless. He can, he can shake his slimy fist at you, but he can't really do anything.
Get off my lawn!
Yeah, he
pretty
can't. Yeah, he can't do anything to
much.
you. And so this very menacing thing, and they're talking to the stone that lets them speak, basically, which is a brilliant little thing. Like that, I think it's a brilliant idea they came up with there for a device because that just lends itself to a running joke of you don't even need to stick to Armus. You can do all sorts of crap. Like you can
Yeah.
speak to other planets. It's basically giving them, the sort of the old school Bart prank calling Mo with a fake
Yeah.
name. It's like you can do all sorts of, imagine the chaos they can wreak on
to be
some
honest,
planets.
I should not have that because I'd be like, mortals bow down to your god, for I am the voice in the sky.
Yeah, that would be me too.
Like, Bill, give your neighbor $5,000 or I shall smote thee.
But see, that's the thing is we.
Might be. Smote is past tense.
Yee.
Yeah, and then it would be. Then you'd hear me. He will smite you. Smote is past tense, so you will be smote if you don't do as he says.
That's Janice from accounting.
By thorns.
But yeah, if you
You didn't get the Doctor Who reference. Janice thorns were the things that that Leela used to poison people.
Yeah.
She was the little warrior chick who, when she first met the Doctor, she thought he was this evil dude. And he's like, I'm not evil. Here, you want a jelly baby? You eat babies? How vile are you?
But yeah, if you don't really care about the Prime Directive, you can get to all sorts of shenanigans, like especially the sort of don't interfere in the.
Hey, do you think that's kind of what Q does in a way? Like he has a more advanced version of that where he can just like use it.
I think Q doesn't have rules.
No.
Oh,
I mean,
that
stone. He has some sort of version of that stone so that he can interact with people on this dimension, but being a poly-dimensional being, he doesn't need the his stone is more wide range.
Well, it's more to maybe augment and sort of focus his will to present himself as a 3D, thing out of his normally higher plane.
Saying he's showing off his 3D thing, dude. Only to Picard or Janeway, okay?
And the Mrs. Q that he made the little Q with.
No, used his finger for that.
That's the thing. That's his 3D thing. Anyway, but yeah, he's so many dimensions that he has to sort of, can make himself 3D, like form a sort of avatar, a 3D avatar that the humans and other.
Now I'm just picturing Q as a Q playing The Sims. And it's like, Which town should I visit today? Ooh, let's visit the Enterprise. Let's see how Picard and them are doing.
But yeah, his being is so unimaginably complex that if you came down in full form, you wouldn't be able to understand him. You wouldn't be able to comprehend him.
That was in one of the books, IQ, where Picard and Data were brought to the continuum to help Q save his son and wife. And Data immediately just like short-circuited because he couldn't fathom the dimension.
That's why they had to make a representation of like that gas station, that little town, for them to be able to understand.
Exactly.
When they was in that one episode, they brought
Death Wish.
Yeah, Death Wish. They had to bring in order to so that the humans could comprehend and not be completely mind blown by the whole thing. It's like, let's put this in a context. Let's put this in a form that won't blow their minds. Like, oh yeah,
exactly.
we made a form, so this is what it looks like. No, this is just something so you don't freak out.
And they did that with Picard as well, but Data was able to see through that, and so his brain just like shut down because it was
not
overwhelming. Exactly.
I should have not be running on Windows Vista.
And Q had to reset him, like reboot him. It's like, yeah. I just, every time I read that, I'm picturing the Windows boot up theme.
Yeah. But yeah, it was but yeah, getting back to it, like we kind of started at the end with Artemis, which is a great little prank that they can now play. They can talk, like which it would be really, really tempting to talk to they were in this freaking episode. My brain's just going Packleds, yeah.
Packleds,
yeah, the Packleds.
We're smart, that. You are dumb.
Yeah. Packled. I am the one with the biggest helmets.
I love
you will obey.
That.
Haha, you are stupid. I am smart. I am a good spy. I did not tell you anything, and yet you told me everything. Oh, well, you are so in order for me to be really impressed, I would need to know exactly what you didn't tell me, because otherwise that's not that impressive. I mean, for all I know, you just didn't tell me that your girlfriend's pregnant. That's not a big secret. It's like, no, I did not tell you that we are planning on setting a bomb off in Earth. Oh, yeah, that is very impressive. Bye-bye.
Okay, I just realized
you
something.
Scared off Janeway. You are biggest helmet now.
Okay, I just realized something. The Packlets are probably like so stupid, right? Which is normally a bad thing, but I think even the Borg wouldn't touch them.
Well, there was that episode of Voyager where they had that one town that was so like low tech that they pretended to be low tech so that the Borg didn't notice them, and all the while they used genetic engineering to create a Borg virus in the form of a poor little E-chip. So he was built to be assimilated and destroy the Borg. And that's why Janeway and mostly Seven of Nine are like, no, we are taking custody of this kid. he was assimilated by the Borg once. Okay, it happens. You intentionally make him assimilated a second time? Yeah, no. We're taking him with us. You are bad parents.
Somehow, I doubt the Packlets would come up with such a genius plan.
And actually, most of the Pac-Led technology
is stolen.
Is stolen. They're basically like the low-tech Borg.
Yeah, you get the Borg, you get the Federation, who are the diplomatic Borg, and then you have the Pac-Led, which are the low-tech Borg.
Yeah.
You assimilate everyone.
We steal your technology, so it is our technology, and we are stronger.
I think it would be funny to just have like this chief of security. Would have been a really funny thing would be have him go around and set up a holodeck for the Pac-Led spy with a warp core that has no business working. Like, it would immediately explode on its own. Like, it would completely fail. Like, it's so crazy that it wouldn't work. And then, like, you take him on to see...
lithium crystals. This runs on chewing gum and duct tape.
Ooh. And you give him a tour, but you give him a tour of that. And then he takes that back to his people. Ooh, look, I got pictures of this. And it's just like... Yeah, but they try and put it together. They waste a bunch of time and resources trying to put together that, and it just explodes, or it doesn't work, or it just... it intentionally... It ends up playing a sort of thing, and that would be pretty funny.
No, have them build, instead of a warp core, a giant musical instrument that, like a music box type thing, where you can make one that doesn't actually look like a box, and like it just plays a message from them using the sound waves, like, these are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Like, I knew Janeway lied to us. Like, Janeway, the Enterprise and Janeway lied to us. Like, bro, that's not the Enterprise, nor Janeway.
And so we had Freeman doing the negotiation with the Pac-Led spy, which is fun too. But yeah, and then so there's a lot of different stories kind of going along at the same time here. We had Freeman with the Pac-Leds, you had the Pac-Led spy, and then you had Boimler getting in with the red shirts, and then you had the anomaly whatever duty. Basically the trash duty. They had four different stories going on at once.
That Boimler roped them into and then dipped.
Boimler, that was Tendi. That was Tendi that roped them into doing the anomaly duty.
Oh, Tendi roped them into it.
Yeah, because she thought, oh, this...
Boimler
you're always so complaining. Yeah. Boimler's just excited about everything. He's it's this fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
But
ooh, this is fun.
But I did like that Mariner, instead of getting like really mad at him, was like, dang, I wish I'd gotten that.
I know.
Yeah.
Damn it, I should have thought of that.
It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah,
which is funny because he's doing it not to get out of trash day duty, but because he really wants to be a Captain Material. Yeah. And then he actually shows proper initiative, and they're just like, ew, you got dirty for stupid reasons. That's stupid. You don't belong with us.
Yeah, it's
And
not
then
all
they
about.
But I like that uh,
and then
the first
Ransom's
officer
just
at the
like,
end was like, yeah,
nice work out there.
yeah. It's like he got noticed by the first officer. He's like, Ransom's like, yeah, that was good work, quick thinking. It's like, yeah, and yeah, you see that he can give a speech and he can
Mhm.
look captainly, but
Yeah, not
looking
all
and
about
doing
speeches though.
yeah, speeches and looks aren't everything. Like good leader
I
gets
love
dug in
how they're like,
with their people.
I love how they're all like, try, I've got this. No, I've got this. It's like all talking over each other. It's like, that's not getting it.
Yeah,
You don't get it at all.
yeah,
You've got to do something, dumbass.
yeah.
Like,
Especially
wait,
if it's like
this
what
is
Boimler
me.
was doing. That's a leader's. That's what a leader does. Is what Boimler did. Yeah, he looked like a fool, but guess what? He did it to save a friend, to save a crewmate. It's like that's a yeah, he
And
jumped into
how
danger
many
to
times
save her and made himself look like a fool while doing it. And in doing so, saved her from that.
saved the day?
And, you know,
Saved
yeah,
everybody else from her.
yeah. Meanwhile, everybody
But
else is, which, if you think about it, everybody else in that room was hunkered down pretty much. Like
mm-hmm.
all the other people in there were hunkered down behind, some sort of barrier. The red shirts were giving their stupid speeches. Who was the one jumping out? And because we see him, and
Exactly.
all we see is him doing that. But seeing him and thinking about it from a larger context of somebody who was walking by there and saw what
Mm-hmm.
happened, it's like they see one guy jump out to deal with this killer mantis that that she turned into. Like everybody else is cowering, he's jumping out in there and doing stuff and fixing the problem and saving her. It's unorthodox, and he looks like an idiot doing it. But you know what? He saved his crewmate. He pulled her out of it.
Yeah,
That's what was needed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get dirty. How often has Picard, dude, there have been times Janeway has literally been covered in grease and dirt because that is what was needed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's to varying degrees. Like different captains have varying differences, varying opportunities to get dirty. Like Janeway is constantly having to deal with stuff. It's like
exactly.
seemingly, like say Archer, not as much, but you did occasionally have to do it. Like he got in and like the whole business with the Andorians and the Tellarites, where he stepped in for the Tellarite to help, satisfy that honor duel so that they could make peace.
Yeah.
So he got stuck in on that, and then you got Kirk,
I think
who never had a shirt that stayed whole.
Yeah. He didn't get dirty. He just got naked.
that was probably in his contract, to be honest.
Which is it's really funny. Like, it's a really funny joke. Well, not it's a funny little. Okay, in Star Trek Online, you have basically this Ferengi who is running a contraband, and you attack him and you stop him and you disable his ship and you're hauling him away with the tractor beam. And he's like, if you let me go, and he says various different things depending on sort of random. And one of them was an authentic Captain Kirk tunic, no rips. It's like, that doesn't exist.
That's not authentic then.
Yeah. He says all sorts of things like, how about Gorn Championship Wrestling? Which could happen, but he's basically trying to bribe you to let him go. It's like, you've got him at a tractor beam, you're hauling him off to be, hauled off to, whatever prison you got. There's another ship there that's waiting, and you're just gonna bring him over to them, and they're gonna deal with it. Other things happen, but I was like, okay, yeah, that's not that's Kirk. And then
Kirk with the untorn shirt,
yeah,
dude.
and
That
then
no, you know what it must be? It's the Calvin verse Kirk.
maybe, but
He had full shirts. His shirts didn't rip as much. The ones from the Abrams movies.
yeah, and then what else was
Chris
there?
Pine shirt as often.
Yeah, and then we had Picard, who occasionally would get stuck in.
And would look foolish to save the day. I mean, shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't afraid to be a little silly if it saved the day. And then you had Janeway, obviously. She had all sorts of problems she had to deal with because she was out on her own, and there was no, I don't want to get dirty.
Yeah.
And Cisco, he was freaking fighting a war, so like.
Although he still didn't get dirty as much, but then he was.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't. He may not have gotten as dirty as some of them, but
and he didn't make as much of a fool of himself, except for the whole baseball and profits thing. But besides that,
but he made up for not having to make much of a fool of himself. But on the other hand, he was constantly stuck in because the Dominion War he was right in the middle of it. Now he was an attaché for a bit with Ross, but a lot of times he was flying the Defiant. He was on the Defiant in the battle, in the thick of it. So like he but
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh. I wonder if you looked up enough, you could find some of the things that were on the artifact, the anomaly cleanup duty. They actually went. You actually went back and looked at episodes. You could find any of those that actually went to episodes. I don't think any of them. I didn't recognize any of them, but that doesn't mean they weren't there. They must be in a thing I didn't remember.
I wouldn't know. I don't watch much Star Trek. I may watch the one where they end up 900 or so years in the future. I forget which it was.
900 years in the future.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that time. I just made up a time, but yeah, where they get sucked through a time wormhole or something. It's the newest Star Trek.
Oh, it's Discovery.
Ah,
one of the Discovery seasons does that.
yeah,
I think.
Because I do got 9 days off, so.
Okay. Yeah.
PTO.
But yeah, I would say. Anyway, yeah. We got I don't know. It was a fun episode with a lot going on. And we got to see kind of Boimler be glimmers of what he could be if they would ever promote him.
Series finale.
No, series finale is he's still an ensign, but we get a flash forward, and it's it's Mariner has is the captain, and Boimler is the first officer. Is her XO, and and Mariner is on an Enterprise. And Mariner has a command of the Enterprise. Just for added, how the fuck did that happen?
Wait, what?
I was just thinking, like, if they gave Mariner the Enterprise, like, how the heck did that happen?
I know. I was like saying.
Oh, I thought I'd cut out or something.
No, I was like, wait, how did this happen?
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, and yeah, and it's just a few minutes of them sort of panning around the ship on whatever the new Enterprise is, and it's several years later, and it's they're on the bridge, captain, first officer on. We don't see the name on the ship. We just see Mariner's got the captain's chair, and Boimler's her first officer. Go around the ship. Rutherford is a chief engineer. Tendi is a medical officer, chief medical officer, and we just kind of pan around the ship, and then at some point we sort of you maybe you get a little bickering about something about their kid. You didn't pick up the kid from such and such. No, I didn't. I was busy doing this. I thought you were doing that.
Whoa. What did I miss?
Okay. I was just talking about, we were talking about what, like,
are you like doing some weird shipping fic between Mariner and Boimler?
I was just talking about end of series. It would be a funny, like he was saying, we're talking about Boimler getting promoted. Like, it should happen, but it won't because, story reasons. He's like, we'll put the promotion at the end. It's like, no. You gotta go to the end. The end is a flash forward. However many years makes it reasonable. And you see Mariner at the captain's chair, Boimler as her number one. You go around, you see Rutherford as chief engineer, Tendi as chief medical officer, and at some point, maybe while they're panning around Boimler and Mariner, like, there might be mention of some kids or something. It's like, do you pick them up from such and such? No, I didn't pick them up. So I thought you were doing that. And they have a little bickering thing. But then we pan out of that, and for some reason, somehow, Mariner is captaining the Enterprise. an Enterprise of some sort. We don't know what, like she eventually captains the Enterprise, and Boimler's her first officer. But this is 10, 20 years in the future. Like, they've had time to grow and, like, all that sort of stuff. And it's just sort of, maybe an anomaly at the end of it. Some anomaly happens, and Mariner is just psyched. Let's go. And Boimler's like, oh, good grief, here we go again. And that's what they warp to it, and that's the end of the series, is them warping out towards an anomaly. But yeah, I mean, just going off of the fact we saw some leadership skills out of Boimler, and he's capable of making a speech and standing up straight and doing all that. But yeah, I just, if this was a just timeline, Boimler would be a lieutenant commander at this point. But
oh yeah,
but it's not. So, like, the whole point of him being, demoted after being sent back. He was promoted to a lieutenant, sent to the Titan. Okay, instead of being, shifted somewhere else and keeping his rank, like they send him back to the Cerritos and demote him. Like,
yeah.
What did he do to? And on top of that, well, he was a lieutenant. He did nothing but good things. Like he saved, what was it, 3 pretty high-ranking officers, 3 other officers, and himself, and got himself back by accidentally having made a clone of himself, and still managed to steal a shuttlecraft, to get a shuttlecraft back, and take off and return to the freaking ship on his own. Like, how he managed that with his nervous disposition is a miracle in and of itself. But it's like he did nothing but earn more valor and show more valor, and it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna kick you back to the Cerritos and demote you. It's like, why? It's like there's no reason not to demote him. But this thing relies on the status quo.
Yeah. I gotta be honest though, I would love a cube that turns me into a giant scorpion monster. I'd have so many uses for it.
Like turning into a giant scorpion monster?
Yeah.
That's emotionally charged, basically. It's a Hulk cube.
Yeah. You have to get angry.
Does each emotion turn you into a different monster?
I don't think so. I think it's just rage.
But
because she was laughing and joyful, and that disabled the thing entirely. And if you're thinking about it as a weapon, like if it's a weapon, like it would feed off the rage and make you, basically take that rage and make it more powerful, make you more powerful through that emotion. And it loosens up your inhibitions on your anger and then fuels off that anger. So that's a very typical, like, literary MacGuffin that, yeah, it makes you powerful, but it feeds off your anger. And so you're less yourself at that point. But less your normal self.
Unless you're normally angry, in which case, hey, maybe you'll turn into a floofy little teddy bear or something. When you actually laugh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man, imagine what's his name? Chief of Security grabs it, and he's always cranky.
Oh god!
Like, and then all of a sudden, you see him. You make him laugh, and he turns into a tiny little floofy Ewok.
Or maybe it's not turn you into an insect specifically, but maybe it turns it's sort of a reverting evolution sort of situation, and Orions have a more insectoid origin, like Klingons. Because Klingons apparently had some sort of insectoid background, which is weird, but it's a thing. And so if you did that to a human, if a human did it, or depending on what a Bajoran came out of, what they evolved from, like if you did it to a human, they would turn into a big gorilla. Well, humans are more chimps, but it would just an oversized chimp.
Dude, they would turn into the dancing banana. Dude, they would turn into the it's peanut butter jelly time banana. Because humans share like what was it, 89% or something of their DNA with bananas.
Yeah, but I like 99% with chimps. Like, it's not necessarily chimp, because chimps aren't our direct ancestor, because we have a shared ancestor. That's actually the more appropriate way of talking about that, but like it would be some sort of pre-human, pre-chimp ape of some kind. It would just be massive. Which apes are scary enough. Like chimps are scary as it is. We're scary as it is. Now you're gonna make that more.
You're the worst animal ever.
You know, now you're gonna make that thing, whatever that thing was, that sort of the whatever the common ancestor was. Like, you're gonna take that and amp it up. It's like, okay. That's going to be a brutal little thing. Smart and brutal. Though it remains to be seen whether it would have more short-term memory or more long-term memory. Like, chimps' short-term memories, if I remember correctly, are quite incredible. Like, they have amazing short-term memory. They don't have they don't have the as complex a long-term and as big a long-term memory as we do. We don't have quite the same short-term memory they do, if I remember correctly. Something like that. It was something like that. Like, they have really good short-term memory. But we traded that in for better long-term memory. Though trade is a bad term. But yeah. But yeah, there's no telling what that actually would, if it would change with other emotions, but I have a guess it's probably rage based.
Well, hey, at least she didn't turn into a giant blimp.
Okay.
I was talking about Rutherford.
Oh yeah. Which that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to animate in that regard.
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
It's like, here, you get to do all sorts of weird crap today. And surprised that the Pack-Led didn't run into them. Like, he didn't have a crossover of things, and he ran into an anomaly, and like something weird happened to him.
Okay, I do kind of love the line. Oh, we probably underestimated him. No, we underestimated him.
Your toilet, I press flush button and I get pulled into space. But he's too dumb to die.
Yeah. We are strong.
Like, go clean this up. That Pack-Led did something terrible in there.
Oh, that was that was one of the better parts of that sting of the episode. Was just like, yeah, you tried to be all, but like, yeah, you got your acting captaincy for like 10 seconds, and then it's like, nope, you're back off. Get out of my chair. Go clean up. Go, and then you get sent to go clean up the airlock, and it's like, And the whole thing, Ransom just didn't freaking care about it. Probably because he didn't know it would last. Knew it would last like 10 seconds. He was like, okay, whatever. And probably
not only that, it's just like, who cares?
Yeah, he's not going to be in there very long, and when if he does, he's just going to be, he's going to be replaced really quickly because we're not going to leave him in charge. And so, but yeah, and then probably it was like, and to a certain extent, Boimler dodged a bullet with like, yeah, if you'd gotten it, you would have had to clean out what befoulment happened in that airlock. Would you think that of the things that, like, that must have been one heck of a befoulment if the airlock didn't suck it out into space? Like, what do Pack-Leds excrete that the vacuum of space did not knock it out?
Actually, if you're in an airlock, you wouldn't get sucked out unless you're right by the door.
Well,
because
I guess they lower the pressure. They would lower the pressure first, wouldn't they? And then they would open the door.
And also, the decompression isn't that rapid with an opening that size, which is
Well, we never
why
saw what the size of the room was,
okay,
and
yeah, but the airlocks in Star Trek are about the size of a general airlock, and that's pretty big. So,
but
comparatively speaking, he probably, because he went to flush, he had to get closer to press the button, and it opened the door because the button is probably close to the door, to the exit, so that when you come back in, you can press it immediately and repressurize the room in case of emergency.
Anyway.
But he's stupid. But yeah, if you're even a few feet away from the opening during decompression, it's not going to do anything. Nothing's going to get shot out. So if he took a dump further into,
yeah, but if he took it near the door, like, and it's not that,
if it's
unless it was if it was small enough and near the door, like maybe it stained the ground, like so it floated out, but like it left a mark on the ground.
Or it was low enough to the ground that it didn't get sucked out because
it got slammed against the door.
Poop can be pretty aerodynamic depending on the shape. So if it was like flat or round enough, the air would have gone over it instead of pushing it out. Yes, you're analyzing the aerodynamics of shit.
yeah, I just
educational.
Yeah, it depends on like if they how their airlocks exactly work, and
well, most airlocks work the same. It's just it depends more on the location and the type of shit he had. If it was one of those runny ones, then maybe it just got all over the place when the decompression hit, and it just like sprayed all over. Like,
which, though, to be fair though, does the airlock?
Imagine when you drop some paint on a piece of paper and use a straw to blow it. Now, picture doing that in a box.
But like it would depends on if they turn off.
So
it also depends on if they turn off grav plating when you open the airlock.
Yeah.
If they do that, if they turn it off, then it could spray. But if not, it might just move towards the exit, and like if it's loose enough, it might move towards the exit, and then some of it gets out, some of it gets on the under, like if it's not right up against the door isn't right up against the ground or the floor. It doesn't meet the floor flush. Like there could be a little bit of the frame of the door that's along the ground, and then it just sticks into it. I mean, I guess we've seen their airlocks before. I didn't take the time to look at their airlocks again, because there was that one time when they tossed that computer core out an airlock. I think it was out in airlock, but you could go back and look at that, and see what their airlocks are like. But yes,
But either way, there isn't the explosive decompression like you see in the movies.
But still, yeah, it would still, like, it would evaporate any liquid in there, because it would be if as long as it was open for like more than a second, long enough for him to get out the door, the
It
water in it
would boil
would
and
boil.
it would boil away any liquid, and then the entire thing would freeze.
Yeah, whatever was left, whatever didn't boil away due to the lack of pressure, would be. It depends on if it's all if it goes out if it moves out the exit, then it freezes. But if it stays like if the ground plating stays on and it stays inside the airlock, then the ground might be warm enough from being the interior of the starship that it might not freeze immediately. In some of it might coat in something frozen, but the bottom might be still liquid, or not liquid, but like non frozen over.
Welcome to Crash Monkey Studios, the only channel that goes distant death about shit in space.
But yeah, it would instantly remove any liquid, but it would freeze, it would leave whatever was left, like
skid marks.
It would be pretty foul, I guess, in that regard. I don't know. It's a weird thing to think of, but man.
I am glad that for the most part Boimler never really betrayed his friends. I mean, he did when he skipped out and doing work, but he didn't treat them mean like the
yeah.
Yeah, and I think at this point,
but that's not who Boimler is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know that, like, well, Mariner at this point is like, I know he wants to move up. Like, she doesn't really, but she knows that if given the chance, he would get a promotion. Like, if given the opportunity to move to lieutenant, he would take it in a heartbeat because he did. And is like, okay, I know that's his dream, is to be a captain and whatnot. And she knows, like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to stand in his way. But
well, I mean, be kind of hard for her to stand in his way. She has tried, but she's like, I'm not gonna.
yeah,
no.
not gonna get mad at him about it because yeah, that's his thing. He wants to be a captain one day. Great, that's his thing.
What's higher than a captain?
Admiral.
Admiral.
Well, there's various forms of admiral, but
what if she becomes a captain, but he ends up becoming an admiral?
So basically, her parents.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then they have a kid, and they're in the same situation as she is. And it's just like,
and
just
then
like
you hear her mother just like and then you hear her mother with like, hey, now you know how I feel.
Yeah, your kid is just like her, and it's like, But I like the thought of them on the Enterprise for somehow, some way, they've conned themselves into being command of the Enterprise. But then, oh no, at the end of it, like, they're commanding the Enterprise. Like, she's a captain, he's a commander. But but at the end of it, as a twist, like, technically they commanded the Enterprise, but they were just picking it up from Utopia Planitia to deliver it to Earth. So this, they were doing some refit work, and so they just, like, everybody else had gone to Earth to have shore leave, so they're like, hey, why don't you guys take command of the Enterprise for a bit and just fly it from Utopia Planitia to Earth space dock. And it's like, they leave, and it's like, thanks for taking her from bringing her in from Utopia Planitia. And it just, like, there's some other crew comes on, and it's like, yeah, that shore leave sure was nice while they were doing the refits. Something in that regard. Like, you think somehow they got in charge of the Enterprise, but no, they were just bringing it from Utopia Planitia for them. Which they were technically in charge of the Enterprise for about 5 minutes. Then they all climb aboard, like, their own shuttles and whatnot, and go back to, like, they're on another, not necessarily a California class, but something of its equivalent. Or no, give them a Luna. Give them something like a Titan, like the Titan. But at this point, it's been in service a while, so it's less prestigious. But they're in a Titan type, ship, something like a Luna class. So technically, they did upgrade, and they did get a better ship, and they have a nice ship. But they're not the Enterprise crew.
Yeah.
And then you see them on their own ship, and they're getting back to work, and they're doing things. That would be funny. I think we've muddled on about poo and all sorts of things.
Oh yeah.
It's like whether poo would be pulled out the airlock or not. Okay, well, I think we'll call that a 56-minute rant on including poo and the skin of evil. Which
Hey, if your poo has skin of evil on it, that sounds painful. And maybe you should see a doctor.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded like that pack lead that pack lead's poo could have been labeled the skin of evil.
Oh,
No,
God.
We don't know what their poo's like. All right, well,
do not want to go in there.
Oh, they need to do a spacewalk to do some repairs or something. It's like, why are you going to the other airlock on the other side of the ship? I'm not going through that airlock. They haven't cleaned it yet. Oh, come on, how bad could it be? Oh, God!
The
Yeah, we're
smell.
going to the other side of the frickin' ship, and we're going out that airlock. I don't care if we have to walk all the way across the ship. We're going out that airlock.